Welcome, everybody, to tonight's I&E broadcast. My name is Dr. Lou Jensen, and this is a weekly gathering. We've been meeting for 8 years, webinars every Wednesday night on the business side of creative hobby. We started this group, the I&E Network, Inspiration and Encouragement Network, in 1983. So we've been down the road a ways, and what we try and do is help people discover they've got some talent, do whatever it takes to develop that talent, then work hard together to master something in the marketplace, and then learn to share it. The second you begin to have something really worthwhile for trading and you master something, then things start to work a little better. Most people tend to hover too low on the skill level, and then it stays crafting rather than art, and that just doesn't work overly well. So as we begin tonight's show, we're talking about, we've just had a pricing series, a 3-week course on pricing, then we had a 5-week course on upscale marketing, and tonight we do the second session of a 3-part personal branding session. And these are what I call my master's courses. We've developed them during this 38 years out of the success stories of people that we've had involved in our network. So I'm going to jump right to it and screen share. Let's go find the show tonight and the cover. So I need to try and get after it a little bit quicker. All right, have we got the first slide master's presentation up, Mel?
Yep.
Okay. When I first started this, this is our 39th year since the moment that changed the entire course of my life. I was a general dentist and didn't like dentistry much, made a lot of money, but I had to hurt 30 people a day, and I got tired of that, and I started looking at a hobby, and the dang hobby just consumed my time and interest, and the more I played with it, the better it got, and then I started realizing I could make some pretty serious money with my hobby, so I really poured it on. It took me 6 years from the moment of concept to the point where I could actually retire from dentistry, and I made myself a promise, unless my hobby could outdo my dental practice, I couldn't justify quitting. And when I got it burning the fire underneath it, it went flying past my dental income like crazy. And so then I started coaching and teaching others, and in the process of doing that, there's certain business principles that really help a great deal that a lot of artistic people tend to overlook, and having a decent brand is one of them. So I developed these master's courses over a period of time to where I could help people see better what a brand really is. I see so much on Google Plus and all social media talk about branding, but often I don't see the brand from the person who's preaching it. And so it's real easy to talk about some statistical effort or some theoretical teaching effort that's going to say this is what a great brand is, when in reality it's you that we're branding. And I hope tonight is the beginning session. The first session we went through the theory. Now we're going to try and see if we can't help you begin to actually develop and build your brand. And we're going to feature one of our top artists tonight. Craig Hone has been in our network for years, and his father was our first master in the program. So we're going to talk a lot about Craig tonight. A moving target is a brand. A personal brand is the boiled down version of who you want to become and what you most want to end up trading with the world. So as you go through this with me tonight, I hope you'll look at what I'm presenting for myself and for others, and then try and put yourself in the middle of this lineup. You just don't want to go forward in business without a personal brand. It doesn't make any sense to do that. It's all over the place now that everybody understands that a personal brand is an evolution of yourself. And I have had to kind of go at my own. I'll show you my own and what I think has happened for me, and then I hope you'll come out of it with something that you can actually pull into your life and begin to build that personal brand for yourself. For 40 years, I've collected my favorite images, my favorite stories, and my favorite travels. where I've been and who I've been there with. Somebody's got their mic open. Will you make sure all your mics are closed, please? Thank you. Thank you. Uh, I have a lot of fun with where I've moved in my life because I didn't start out coaching. Keith Hone was a retiring school teacher and came over and said he wanted to buy the equipment and have me teach him how to basically build a retirement hobby business so he could have a little money to play with. And so we started building a business plan like I had done to get out of dentistry and basically made it fit Keith's life. They're over 35 years ago. And that change in my own life is what began to change other people's life, is where the profitable hobby idea really came from. Out in the marketplace, there's Dr. Steve, Dr. Phil, Dr. Wayne, and I'm Dr. Lou, and I'm the easier one to remember because I'm the only one that has hair. That's my greatest claim to fame. One time I was doing a gun show. This is where I began to get a lot of my early business, and there was a guy that was selling rubber guns right next to me. And he cut these out with a scroll saw, and then he had this whole little set. You could buy anything from him. And the guy did fairly well, but it was just purely hobby for him. And I says, you know what? I can use my drill, and every time you tell somebody, tell them that you can put their name on it for free if they buy it today. And I tripled his sales. In one 2-day weekend gun show, I just blew his sales right off the canopy because he had never offered anything that would then enhance the overall position of his business. And most things in business and marketing are just like that. There's little wrinkles you can put into it that can really up your individual productivity. And custom personalization and branding is just one of the best that there is. I've kind of landed in the area. I'm an innovator. I developed the Power Pen, the high-speed power carving tool called a Paragraver. Years and years, 1979 and 80s when I developed that. And it says I'm overloaded on my computer. I hope not. We'll see. Let me know if we have troubles here. In 1979 and 80, I developed a high-speed drill and got this whole thing started, and then just have moved on from there. And as I came up with the idea of an I&E network, which is a gathering of end users, and began teaching and helping and standardizing things, it took a long time to kind of figure out some of these concepts that literally help people begin to discover their talent, develop it, master it, and then learn to share it. I really spent years peddling prescriptions for people's help the aches and pains of dental care. And then I began to realize that what I really was handing out now was a passionate prescription of a better way to go. And developed then the Master's Program, which is 7 steps from putting yourself in the middle here to some degree of success. Is amateur to apprentice, apprentice to technician, technician to artisan, artisan to professional. You're starting to make money here. And then we start teaching you how to train and coach and move you up into what I call a master's position in our I&E network. You can kind of measure your own ability here and success in business by how much effort and time you've put into learning the skills of the business side of the hobby. I have a program, a 12-hour series on the trade wins, the small game, the game of small business. 52 cards of the trading game takes you 52 hours to get through. Upscale marketing is 15 hours, and the ABC factors that influence most small business another 26 hours. Now this starts to give you a bit of a background to be able to actually figure out what does it take to make something succeed in business. And so if you measure how many hours you've invested in this direction in the last year, it'll give you a really good idea of whether you're making progress or not. I wrote the book on how to do a business plan in the want world. It's the only one of its kind. It's called Opportunity Intersection, and how to turn your hobby into a great little business. It's a 7-book series with videos. 7 videos, 7 hours of books. And It's on sale for our anniversary sale. I'm doing Sunday, I'm doing my annual show about how this all got started. And so this is my anniversary week, and you can get a 15% discount on it. It's normally $140. Give Tammy a call at the 800 number. If you haven't done your business plan yet, for hell's sakes, where should we start? Right here. Do not go any further till you've got a business plan of where you're headed. How many of you are absolutely certain tonight what you're going to do with the rest of your days? Have you got a clear picture of what you're dreaming about? How, where you'd like to take this, what you'd like to accomplish, and how can you kind of maybe get there? And then when you're trying to sell something, which is more important, the steak or the sizzle? And so if we look at the purposes of a brand, one is to guide the directions of where you dream of going, and then the other is to help you present yourself in the best possible light. So instead of a shotgun approach to the marketplace, what we're going to do with personal branding is, instead of being here, we're going to move you over to here. And that literally helps you to then begin to target the marketplace, which produces much, 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 much better results. Okay? It's a way of thinking, and we usually had where and how we think. If we've got something targeted and something we're focused on going after, we've got a much, much better way and idea of making it work. That targeting means we're going to try and make the lightning hit right here. We're going to put up a lightning rod and see if we can't get the customer to end up exactly where we want them to end up. So, are you constantly in this dynamic balancing act where you're trying to figure out what next? Or have you got things a little bit more fixed in your mind? When I left dentistry, I definitely took the low dust travel. You don't see many dentists, professional people, leave their career and do better in their new business than they did when they were general dentists. But I've now made a path that I think no one else has traveled, and I'm trying to help others find their own way up the individual success mountain. I live in the middle of Utah Valley, which is 7 magnificent mountains around us. It's one of the prettiest places on the planet. Those 7 mountains are sacred turf for a lot of the native cultures. And I match the 7 steps of success, from first having a great dream that produces hope and faith, then make you a map and a plan, which is purpose and direction. Then you begin to prepare. As you begin to prepare, it's going to up your energy and then your commitment. The second you finally say, okay, I'm not going back, I'm going to make this work, I'm going to launch these individual efforts to retire early and play a little more with your life instead of just work yourself right into a grave, produces tremendous tenacity and determination. This one right here is really important, that you burn the bridges and do not go back to job. The next is to check the directions. These help you manage the business. From the launch on, you want to check the directions constantly and journal how your measurements. How are you doing? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Keep solving problems. All business is problem solving. But that then produces progress. And then in the last step, which is I think the major one, is learn how to share who you are and what you trade in the marketplace better and better and better as time goes on. The idea of selling just you and your brand, to me, is huge. And if you can concentrate on that and realize that you're the important element here, not your product. I'll bet I bring this up just about every webinar I've done for the last 8 years. It's you that's significant. And if you don't brand you, then the customer doesn't really know what you're selling. Session 1, we did the theory of the brand. I think we covered it pretty well. Tonight, I want you to have a notepad, and I want you to catch the little whispers, those little aha moments that begin to help you see more what you're trying to do to begin to build your own personal brand. And then next week, session 3, we'll be learning to use the brand. And all 3 of these sessions, I think, fit together like a hand and glove. And I'm going to challenge you that if you don't do a brand and don't know how to make it work, Are you willing to bet the level of your success or the lack thereof for the rest of your days on whether you have a decent personal brand and know how to use it? I think I put just about as much heat on this now as I can possibly think of. Because if you got any road to do, then your life as a journey is not going to end up where you want. And Steve Covey basically promoted the idea of the North Star. This one doesn't move. This is where you're headed. This is where you dream of going, and you get your life from your as-is world over to something better. It requires that kind of fixed perspective. Now, I want you to realize that when you're talking about complex brands, some huge companies like Dior and Vitron, working in the context of ultra-famous brands, creative spirits are always going to feel reined in. It's very important that you feel you're free to develop your ideas, and rather than detracting from the principal job, then you'll reinforce it. I think money invested in brand development as venture capital, okay, it's not a big investment compared to the returns. They spend a fortune to brand these companies and keep their brands intact. It's huge for these businesses. It's not a light subject, it's a heavyweight subject. What you desire and dream and how you're going to earn from that is the brand that you need to take care of. Does Amazon.com sound like an important subject? A brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well. You've got to take on the mountain. It's never easy to do this stuff, and anybody that implies it's easy, lying to you. It is not easy. It's uphill climb. But that's what separates one person who succeeds from all the rest who do not. A brand that captures your mind gains behavior, but a brand that captures your heart gains commitment. So which one are you after? A relationship grabbing tool. The two big questions for the day are, can you brand yourself, or does the marketplace brand it for you? If you don't do the branding, then the marketplace will. And I don't think this is throwing mud on the wall. This is the haphazard way of going at it or not doing it at all, when in reality you can brand yourself and make that stick. And you want it to happen by accident or by design with some kind of plan. A personal brand is like building a lightning rod that works in the marketplace 24/7, attracting influence, credibility, and perception, and bringing that influence your way. You have the power to direct and control it. Now, we covered these first few areas in the theory of the brand. Tonight, we're going to flesh out your brand, do the tactics to help you find the best you, getting beyond the jack of all trades, and then next week we'll do the process before perfection and starting your own fire. This tonight's the mirror, mirror on the wall thing. I use this example often because unless you see it, it's not likely to materialize in your life. Who is the fairest of them all is really an issue. And if you can somewhat sense that it's okay for you to look at grabbing the attention of a customer and have them remembering you, and to encourage them to purchase and collect your work. Most of us are so uncomfortable at standing on the stage of life and saying, hey, what I do is extraordinary, and be okay with that to the point you don't kill the business relationship. And it's important to remember this is a never-ending process. I'm in the process right now of redefining my life. My last 10 years of my life now, I planned it out in 7 10-year chunks. I'm moving into the last 10-year period of my life, and I'm trying to make my brand now shift a little bit. So as we do tonight, you're going to make yourself some promises. You're going to pick up your threads of interest, the things you most like, and never, never, never let go. I call it the trade winds. You're going to take your dreams from where you are, your as-is world, to something better, and use the winds that are blowing, the trading winds that are blowing, to get you from here to there. I like to climb with those that also like to climb. It's pretty easy to realize we start out down in the valley, but to get up here is no simple task. But if you're climbing the mountains of success with those that like to climb it, you've got a much, much better chance of succeeding. The basic premise is that it's an uphill climb, and there's something someone else can do for you that's up to you to do it. And you can change the pathway, but each time you shift the gears, you lose time. So every time you change the brand that you're trying to promote in the marketplace, most of us in business and marketing think that it takes about 8 years to make a brand really stick and effective. So you've only got about 4 times in your life that you can do that. And that's not enough. You just don't want to get caught. Success is not measured by what a person accomplishes, but by the opposition they have encountered and the courage with which they have maintained the struggle against overwhelming odds. God, I love that quote. That, to me, is the degree of success anybody can measure. Because no matter what you're facing, there are ways over and around it, even if it's overwhelming. Every master in our organization can tell you that it better be a commitment of a process of commitment, not convenience. The I&E Network Masters Program will help others climb to the peak of their performance, reach their highest technical levels, and then learn how to get paid well in the marketplace for their artistic abilities. One of the primary tools in the business toolbox is personal branding. You just can't ignore this concept. When you're going to trade anything, it's better to just sit down and trade, or is it better to be somewhat ahead of the game? Learning to play chess is making your decisions of how things will be sold and traded ahead of time instead of just at the moment. Most artists do really poor in the marketplace. They don't understand what they don't know about the business trading process, and so they leave business out of it. It's like that doesn't matter. What matters is how good the product is made, and I'm going, that's way down the list of how well it's actually traded. If you could make your last 1,000 handout card to 1,000 people, and I brought this up last week, what would you most want to say on it? It was your last thing you're going to do in your life. And then I want you to push a little further. What if whatever you're going to say would be around influencing people from now on? Well, this little trick or technique really does push you to saying, think about it and put some time and effort in it to begin to realize what you're really trying to accomplish. You want profound stuff like this one that I showed you last time. You want to realize that the whole idea is something profound, something significant that people get pretty quickly. And rather than I don't have a clue, and I'm using this kind of tool to do this kind of a job, you've got to do some more to design it with some more strength so that it actually ends up working for you. The theory is one thing, then building it's another thing, and then growing it is altogether a whole other process. Who are you and what do you have to trade? What do you want to become known for? I showed you this last week, and I don't know if you chewed on this a little longer. If you had a chance in an elevator to be with either one of these women, super successful women in business, and you got to ride 11 floors with them and had 11 seconds to talk to them about who you are and what it is you do in the marketplace, wouldn't you want to be more prepared? Lord, you never know. You never know when this opportunity is going to show up. And so that's the whole idea of branding, is to get yourself focused to the point in 11 seconds you can tell every person you cross paths with who you are and what it is you do. We plant something in the minds of every person we meet every day. And we need to be able to realize that it's our job to garden and cultivate that image. Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works. As far as we know, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has land, and it's good, fertile land, and the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. We're comparing the human mind
Lost your voice.
Lou, we lost your sound.
Can't hear you, Doc.
We lost everything.
I think his computer finally told him, you got to close some programs and I'm shutting you down.
Well, it's 10 spots and the film shut down here. Is he going to be able to get back in?
To see if he answers his smartphone. Dr. Lou Jensen is no longer broadcasting on the INE network. His computer crashed.
Mel, can you get a hold of him?
I'm working on it.
I can barely hear you now. Oh, okay.
Maybe that helps.
Yeah. Get your microphone out of your ear.
At the tone, please
He's not answering his smartphone.
Oh, Lord. What do we do?
Have a general question and answer period, I guess. Because we're still live, it shows.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, take over, Mel.
It's Nick's turn.
All right, Nick. Run with it, buddy.
I'm on a hot seat.
Yeah, we're still live, so we're still broadcasting here.
Yeah, we are. So everybody keep it nice.
Oh, gosh.
If we're talking branding, what all does everybody have as far as a business card for their branding? What information do you put on your business cards besides your name and phone numbers? Do you have a special line, or do you have a drawing or a graphic?
I just got mine. Here's my new cards right now. If you can see this, I don't know how clearly.
Pull it back. Pull it back.
Can you read what it says there?
Back a little bit more.
Back it up a little.
Yeah.
Gotta hold it still. Tilt it just a bit.
There?
No,
other way.
The other direction.
You've got glare. on it.
Yeah, I know. I can't do nothing about that. Let's see.
Well, we got Ed Abel Studio.
Okay.
What about now?
Hello there. The thank you
Huh?
business
Yeah.
with your
Oh, there you go.
phone number. There you go.
Okay.
You got it now?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's three colors. It's dark blue into light blue into white.
Oh, I'm on.
It's kind of a
And
tricolor. Huh?
Dean
You
has
see it, John?
his card there too. Bring it back just a bit, Dean. We can see it well, but lose it.
Ellis,
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
see you, Joni.
tiny logo there.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, he used the INE network. Okay.